The flickering candlelight cast long shadows. Across ancient manuscripts, accounts whispered through generations about encounters that defied earthly explanation. For centuries, stories like these have captivated humanity, fueling both fervent belief and skeptical inquiry. Tales of saints bathed in celestial light, demons writhing in torment, visions piercing the veil between worlds. They've woven themselves into the fabric of countless cultures. Yet, are these narratives simply reflections of deeply held faith, or do they hint at something more profound? A persistent echo of experiences beyond our current understanding? Consider the legend of Saint Margaret, who claimed to have been rescued from a dragon's clutches by an angel. The details, recorded centuries later, paint a vivid picture of divine intervention and terrifying struggle. Similarly, accounts from medieval Europe speak of demonic possession, individuals seized by unseen forces, their bodies racked with convulsions and uttering blasphemies. These aren't isolated incidents. They represent a recurring pattern throughout history, a consistent thread woven through the tapestry of human experience. But what truly compels us to record these stories? Is it simply a desire to share a miraculous event or a terrifying ordeal? Or does something deeper resonate within us? A yearning for answers to questions that lie beyond the realm of scientific explanation? The very act of narrating these encounters suggests a recognition that we've witnessed something extraordinary, something that challenges our conventional understanding of reality. It's tempting to dismiss such accounts as mere folklore, the product of superstition and wishful thinking. Yet, history is replete with examples where seemingly fantastical events were later corroborated by verifiable evidence. The discovery of ancient artifacts, the detailed records of eyewitnesses. These things force us to reconsider our assumptions about what constitutes truth. Can we truly dismiss an entire body of historical accounts simply because they lack a definitive scientific explanation? And then there's the nagging sense that something is missing from our current understanding of consciousness. Modern neuroscience has begun to map the intricate workings of the brain, yet it struggles to fully explain subjective experiences, feelings, intuitions, and even altered states of awareness. The possibility remains that human perception isn't solely determined by physical processes, but also influenced by factors we haven't yet identified or measured. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect is the universality of these experiences across cultures and throughout time. Regardless of their specific religious beliefs, people have consistently reported encounters with forces they perceive as benevolent or malevolent, a pattern that defies simple rationalization. It raises a fundamental question. If unexplained phenomena are so commonplace, why do we feel compelled to categorize them as supernatural? Ultimately, these stories serve not just as relics of the past, but as persistent reminders of the mysteries that still surround us. They challenge us to consider the limitations of our knowledge and to remain open to the possibility that there may be dimensions of reality beyond our current comprehension, a place where the boundaries between faith and reason blur, and the echoes of angels and demons continue to resonate. The question lingers: if these experiences are so prevalent, how do we begin to understand them? Dismissing them as mere delusion seems simplistic, yet accepting them without scrutiny risks embracing unfounded claims. A more nuanced approach demands examining the underlying mechanisms, not necessarily supernatural ones, but psychological and neurological processes that can produce strikingly similar effects. Consider near-death experiences, NDEs, individuals reporting vivid visions, feelings of profound peace, and encounters with deceased loved ones, often describe sensory alterations, consistent with reduced brain activity. While these accounts are undeniably powerful, scientific research increasingly suggests they may be linked to disruptions in oxygen flow to the brain, or altered neural pathways, essentially a neurological trick, rather than an interaction with another realm. Similarly, the phenomenon of suggestion plays a significant role. Belief systems profoundly shape our perceptions and experiences. A person predisposed to believing in angels is more likely to interpret ambiguous sensory information as evidence of their presence, while someone skeptical may attribute similar sensations to psychological factors. The power of expectation, both positive and negative, can fundamentally alter how we perceive the world around us. But reducing these experiences solely to psychological phenomena risks ignoring a crucial element: the subjective feeling of encountering something beyond ourselves. The intensity of emotions reported during NDEs, the overwhelming sense of connection, are difficult to explain purely through neurological explanations alone. Perhaps our current understanding of consciousness, our ability to comprehend its workings, is simply incomplete, moving beyond human experience. Some theoretical physicists explore concepts like quantum entanglement, where two particles become linked regardless of distance. The idea that entangled particles can instantaneously influence each other has fueled speculation about connections between seemingly disparate realities. While highly debated and largely speculative, such theories offer a tantalizing glimpse into the possibility of interconnectedness that transcends our conventional understanding of space and time. It's important to acknowledge that scientific explanations don't necessarily diminish the significance of these experiences for those who have them. Acknowledging the role of neurological processes doesn't negate the powerful impact an NDE has on a person's life or the profound sense of connection they may feel. The key lies in seeking a deeper understanding, not to debunk, but to illuminate. Ultimately, the challenge isn't to definitively prove or disprove the existence of angels and demons, but rather to explore the complex interplay between our subjective experiences, neurological processes, and the potential limits of human knowledge. A continuing quest for meaning within an increasingly intricate world. The persistent question remains: if explanations rooted in neurology and psychology can account for many reported encounters, what distinguishes a genuine experience from a fabrication of the mind? It's not simply about avoiding deception. It's recognizing the profound capacity of human consciousness to shape reality, often unconsciously. The very act of seeking an explanation can influence our perception, leading us to interpret ambiguous stimuli in ways that confirm our pre-existing beliefs. Consider the historical accounts themselves, meticulously documented, yet prone to embellishment. An interpretation based on the prevailing social and religious norms of their time. A divine intervention witnessed during a plague might be attributed to God's mercy, while a demonic possession could reflect anxieties about societal upheaval and moral decay. The narratives are not objective records. They are reflections of human understanding, filtered through the lens of faith and cultural context. However, dismissing these accounts entirely as biased or inaccurate overlooks their persistent recurrence across diverse cultures and eras. This echoes suggests something beyond mere psychological projection, a potential resonance with underlying patterns in human consciousness that transcend specific belief systems. Could there be common neurological signatures associated with profound altered states, regardless of the individual's spiritual framework? Exploring this avenue requires examining research into synesthesia, a condition where stimulation of one sense triggers experiences in another, e.g., seeing colors when hearing music. Synesthetes often report vivid and consistent patterns, suggesting a deeper connection between sensory modalities than previously understood. Perhaps similar neurological mechanisms are at play during intense spiritual or mystical experiences, creating a subjective reality that feels undeniably real to the individual experiencing it. Furthermore, investigating near-death experiences through an evolutionary lens offers a potential framework for understanding their prevalence. Some researchers theorize that NDEs represent a survival mechanism, a phantom limb response triggered by the brain attempting to make sense of impending death. The vivid imagery and feelings reported during these states might be a final, desperate attempt to preserve consciousness and prepare the individual for what lies beyond. It's not about concluding that angels and demons are literal entities. Instead, it's recognizing that the experience of encountering something transcendent, whether interpreted as divine intervention or neurological anomaly, is a fundamental aspect of human existence. The question shifts from did they exist to how do we understand this persistent, deeply felt experience within the context of our evolving knowledge. Ultimately, navigating these complexities demands embracing humility and acknowledging the limitations of both scientific inquiry and religious belief. It requires a willingness to confront uncomfortable questions about the nature of consciousness, the boundaries of reality, and the enduring mysteries that continue to shape our human story. The persistent echo of these experiences, the visions, the feelings of profound connection, demands a reevaluation, not just of what we perceive, but how we interpret it. The very act of seeking an explanation risks imposing a rigid framework onto something inherently fluid and subjective. Reducing complex phenomena to simplistic neurological models can feel reductive, failing to capture the lived experience of those who claim to have encountered something beyond the ordinary. Consider the concept of altered states, not solely defined by neurological activity, but also influenced by cultural context, personal beliefs, and emotional state. A shamanic ritual designed to induce a trance might elicit strikingly similar experiences to an NDE, despite operating within fundamentally different belief systems. These parallel patterns suggest a shared human capacity for accessing altered realities, a potential connection between consciousness and something larger than ourselves. Exploring this perspective requires acknowledging the role of myth and archetype, recurring motifs and narratives that resonate across cultures and time periods. Jungian psychology posits that these archetypes represent universal symbols and images embedded within the collective unconscious, influencing our perceptions and shaping our emotional responses. Could encounters with angels or demons be interpreted as manifestations of these deeply ingrained archetypal patterns, symbolic representations of inner forces or existential challenges? Furthermore, examining historical accounts through the lens of cognitive biases reveals a more nuanced understanding of how perception is shaped. Confirmation bias, the tendency to seek out and interpret information that confirms existing beliefs, can significantly distort our recollection of events. Similarly, the availability heuristic leads us to overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled, often due to their emotional impact or vividness. It's crucial to differentiate between genuine experiences of altered states and fabricated narratives, designed for personal gain or social manipulation. However, dismissing all accounts as fraudulent risks overlooking the possibility that some individuals genuinely report experiencing something profoundly transformative, an experience that fundamentally alters their worldview and sense of self. Ultimately, confronting this topic necessitates accepting a degree of ambiguity, a recognition that definitive answers may remain elusive. Perhaps the true value lies not in proving or disproving the existence of angels and demons, but in using these enduring narratives as a catalyst for deeper reflection on the nature of consciousness, the limits of human understanding, and our ongoing quest to find meaning within an often baffling universe. The persistent questions surrounding angelic and demonic encounters ultimately converge on a single, profound realization. Our understanding of reality is perpetually incomplete. The pursuit of definitive answers, whether rooted in scientific inquiry or religious faith, risks obscuring the very richness and mystery that fuels our curiosity. Perhaps the enduring fascination with these narratives isn't about seeking proof of supernatural entities, but rather about grappling with fundamental questions about existence itself. Considering the diverse perspectives explored, from neurological explanations to archetypal symbolism, reveals a spectrum of interpretations, each offering valuable insights into the human condition. The individual experiencing an altered state doesn't necessarily encounter a literal angel or demon. They might be confronting a deeply personal shadow self, accessing dormant memories, or simply undergoing a profound shift in consciousness, a transformative journey within their own psyche. The key lies not in choosing one explanation over another, but in embracing the inherent ambiguity of these experiences. Acknowledging that both scientific and subjective accounts can hold validity encourages a more open-minded approach to understanding human experience. It's about recognizing that our limited cognitive tools may simply be insufficient to grasp the full scope of reality, a humbling reminder of our place within the cosmos. Instead of seeking definitive answers, we might consider these narratives as metaphors, symbolic representations of universal themes such as mortality, faith, doubt, and the search for meaning. Angels can represent hope, guidance, or divine grace. Demons can embody fear, temptation, or internal struggles. The stories themselves become vessels for exploring timeless questions about our purpose, morality, and relationship with something greater than ourselves. Ultimately, the legacy of these enduring narratives isn't found in their literal truth, but in their capacity to provoke introspection and inspire wonder. They serve as a constant reminder that the universe is far more complex and mysterious than we can fully comprehend, a source of endless fascination, and a catalyst for continued exploration. The persistent questions, the lingering doubts, the unshakable belief are not obstacles to understanding, but rather integral components of the human experience. And perhaps, in confronting these enduring mysteries, we discover not answers, but an even deeper appreciation for the profound beauty and inherent uncertainty of existence, a journey of perpetual questioning, fueled by curiosity and illuminated by the shared human desire to understand our place within the grand tapestry of reality. This video has come to an end, but the discovery continues. Check out more content on the channel and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for watching.